We basically pioneered the concept of eSIM as a new ancillary service, so that you bundle it when you book a flight or a hotel. You see us at checkout, and you add the eSIM to your trip, and you save, tons of money on data roaming. My name is Ahmad. I go by Al. I'm co-founder and CEO at CeliTech, which is an eSIM platform for travel companies like Expedia, KAYAK, and Alaska Airlines.
So it's a B2B thing, not
Yep.
a B2C.
So it's a B2B/B2B2C. So we work closely with travel-related companies, all the way from OTAs, airlines, to fintech, Visa, MasterCard, any company that has travelers in their user base or as their employees. So we also work in business travel. We just signed, for example, SAP Concur, which is focused on business travel as well.
When did you start?
So I started just with COVID. Effectively, I would say 2022.
Was the concept of eSIMs there then?
No, when we started, we spent a lot of time telling people about what's eSIM and how eSIM works, how it's not like you don't need like you don't need like a physical element as a SIM card. But gradually, that problem became less of an issue to us. It became more like how we're better, how can we help with the savings, how can we help the travel company also manage the branding aspect, the mobile engagement, the mobile impressions.
You started from Lebanon, right?
No, I started from the US. So I went to AUB, so I'm a AUB grad. I studied electrical and computer engineering, but I started in the US out of Santa Clarita in LA, in Los Angeles. The special thing about AUB and Lebanon is basically you have the DNA of entrepreneurship, because you have to solve for problems on consistent basis. It was a problem which was personal to me because I'm an international traveler and I have the tech background, so I understood the problem as a friction point and as a pain to the traveler. But at the same time, I had the know-how to kind of address it when we started, and AUB was a big part of that, because part of my final year project at AUB was digitizing telco testing equipment.
What were you doing between graduating and being full-time on it?
So I did a lot of stuff. I mean, my end game was always to become an entrepreneur. It wasn't, but I couldn't afford it early on. And when I graduated, the ecosystem that we have today was not there yet. I went from, I started in Dubai, then went to London, then Hong Kong, then Europe, North Africa. So it was a lot of travel for work, and I started in electrical and communication department of a company called Petrofac, which was in oil and gas, and then moved into. Then I thought I need to do an MBA just to get some business training, because that was something missing. So I went to INSEAD in France, did an MBA, and then worked a little bit in consulting, not by choice. Again, some debt from MBA, but I never liked consulting. I felt I need to exit as fast as possible, and luckily during that period I met one of the two guys who were trying to start a company in Hong Kong. They invited me to join them as a co-founder, and accordingly I joined. And that was an IoT company called Access. It was, we built it from scratch in 2010 all the way till 2018. And that was my first kind of startup experience. It gave me a lot of exposure to the telco industry because we were selling to them. And it gave me a lot of global perspective because we had clients in 50 countries. So I had to travel to these clients. And that became the basis for CeliTech.
And now, as a full-time founder and CEO of your startup, what's a day in your life like in general?
Oh, it's a lot of switching. So my day can start with DevOps calls to kind of make sure we have the DevOps tasks or the features we're building are on track. We do daily stand-ups on Zoom, and then I help also with sales and marketing. So I work with my co-founder Rich, who's mostly the salesperson managing the funnel and the sales, and sometimes I jump on with him on customer calls. Sometimes even on my own have some customer calls. So I own some leads that I also push through the pipeline. And then, yeah, all the admin, finance, and the afternoon, I try to keep the afternoon for the kind of less critical tasks. So the morning is always for the most critical stuff, sales, product. Afternoon is mostly for admin, finance, and obviously fundraising. So, I spent quite some time to raise our seed on 2 stages, and now we're prepping for Series A. So we start building these relationships early on, because when we need them, obviously we need to have them prepared.
Yeah. So you've closed your seed round, right?
Yep. So we closed our seed over 2 stages. It was total of $2.3 million, and now we're going for the Series A next year, which is much bigger than obviously the seed.
What advice would you give startups when they are raising? Like, what's one thing that really helped you? Or
with humans, there is no rules with the human interaction, and it's very similar in startups, because people will tell you, check this pitch deck, or check this book, or read about this. They're always playing, as we say in the US, Monday morning quarterback, which is like trying to explain the thing after the fact. So, he raised because he had a good pitch. No, it wasn't the pitch. It was probably a personal relationship with the VC. It was probably some attraction they're doing with the revenue. It was probably the product had some nice utilization or consumption or usage through the initial user base. So there is no single rule, I would say, in this experiment, and you just have to try to push all, let's say, the aspects of your startup that matter. And these aspects would be product, sales, team, because early stage, I think team would be very essential. Like, many VCs will focus on that. But if you're lagging a little bit there, but you have traction on sales or user base, you can cover that weakness. So I always say, try to have multiple modes, and these modes can be the hook that get you to close a deal. Like, they'll tell you, for example, don't do cold outreach, right? Like, I remember GoFund, who's our lead investor in California. I tried so hard with the intros and trying to get warm intros and stuff like that. I couldn't make progress because we were getting out of COVID in 2022. But then I decided to do a cold outreach. And we ended up getting the lead of our round through a cold outreach. Yeah. This is an advice you won't get out there, because people tell you, through cold out, but because we had the elements that they liked and the fit. Obviously, you have to be smart about how you do it. You don't just do it randomly. So, for example, in the cold outreach, we thought, okay, we need to find funds that do obviously seed or early stage in our sector. Because if you try to reach out to funds that don't focus on your sector, you're kind of wasting your time. So try to do a little bit of everything, like a little bit of all these main, let's say, elements, and see what kind of what works, and double down on that. And
how do you manage the company culture when you're in different places? Some of them are here and some are there.
Today, by design, in any tech startup, you're gonna have to have this aspect in your skill set to kind of manage teams who are remote, who are in different continents, different countries. The problem with the remote is basically you have to make sure you can kind of connect as much as you can, try to do in person as much as you can, so we don't have full remote. We try to have small hubs, we have at the iPart for 3 or 4 engineers. Same in other places. We use tools that kind of help in this space, like Slack, like Clappy, like all these online tools to kind of stay in touch. Obviously, we talk a lot. We talk daily. Every team has to talk daily among themselves. But yeah, we, as a global company as well, because our focus is global international travel. So also we need to be international as a team.
What advice would you give early entrepreneurs?
You have to understand what you're trying to get into as a startup. Startups are fun, but there are a lot of challenge, a lot of it's a lot of challenge, and it's a consistent fight to make stuff. We call it make shit happens, but it's consistent kind of hard work and sacrifices. The only way you're gonna survive it is basically when the problem you're trying to solve is something you really care about. So you need to be true to yourself. It's not like I used to joke about this and say the following: you have to be irrational to do a startup because your failure rate is 90%. So you're trying to get to that 10% and try to make it a success or try to make it sustainable. So you have to have more than skills and team and resources. You have to have a personal connection or a strong connection to the problem you're trying to solve. Because when it gets dark, when it gets tough, when it gets hard, this is the only thing that will keep you moving and trying to make change in that sense. So approaching it as a money-making opportunity most of the time would fail.
Yeah.
Because again, it's against the odds. You're going against so many odds. So have that personal connection so that when you need that bond, you can use it to kind of keep going.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ahmad.
My pleasure.
That
My
was
pleasure.
amazing.
Yeah, my pleasure.